Hey guys. So, a lot of times, our health, taking our health seriously, is motivated because we are sick, and sometimes it's more because we don't want to get sick. So, I mean, obviously, you are going to age, and no matter what you do, you are going to get sick, and you are going to get older, and eventually you will die. I mean, these are things that exercise and dieting, it's not going to fix these things, but obviously it will improve your quality of life. And that's the main issue there. We're not trying to get healthy so that we never die. We're trying to get healthy so that our quality of life is so much better. And really, like a lot of things. For instance, the 2020 COVID-19. The thing that really made it really bad for a lot of people was pre-existing conditions, not being healthy, vitamin D deficiencies, not exercising, those kinds of things where you could really change your chances of, in many cases, not even really being affected that bad by your health. Um, it was one of those things where from the outset, a lot of medical doctors and those kinds of things were saying, hey, you guys need to be going outside and getting exercise and those kinds of things. And yet, for whatever reason, people just wouldn't listen to them. And instead, they thought it was a better idea to just sit in your house and get really panicky. So if you know anything about the human body, you'll know that's a terrible idea. So we're not just trying to not get sick with COVID-19. We're trying to not get sick or to make our sicknesses not as bad as they could have been. So um, this video is called "Being Proactive Against Sickness." Um, uh, like I say, sometimes you are sick, and so you're trying to get healthy, and sometimes you're healthy so that you don't get as sick. And there's just some things that you can do that make sicknesses not as bad, and make it where your body can really adapt a lot better and kind of make it through sicknesses a lot better. To my knowledge, there is no virus that is harder on your system if it's healthy. I don't know of any virus that does that, but I know of many viruses who, if you are unhealthy, it'll make it where oftentimes even the most simple of things, your body can't get the help that it needs. So here's just a quick list. Number one, exercise. It cannot be said enough how much exercise does. Not just because of the long-term effects of exercise. Well, short-term and long-term. Short-term being like, the good feeling that you get from it, that kind of stuff, better sleep that night. The long-term being things like just being healthier in general. Um, yeah, I mean, like, it helps, like, obviously your heart, your lungs, that kind of stuff. But it also helps when you are, how to say this? The thing about exercising is it makes your system run more efficiently so that when you do get sick, it's not like a death sentence. Your system's already running pretty well. Whereas if you don't exercise, you're going to find things that just start going wrong that would have been not a big deal. Here's just a good example. I know many people this last year who weren't getting any exercise whatsoever, zero, zilch. And they got things like pneumonia and stuff because they just weren't active. It's going to do things like improve your mood. Once again, not just because of the feeling of exercise itself, but the after effects of the exercise. You see yourself looking better, feeling better. It just does something to you there. Um, Exercise has so many different benefits. You'll have obviously a better resting heart rate, less damage to your system, obviously. Um, you'll have better cholesterol. I mean, just so many different things. Exercise is one of the foundational things that you can do to help your body to recover, to be obviously healthy. But with that being said, it also needs to be said that if you do get sick, let me reword that. When you do get sick, exercise isn't going to stop you from getting sick. It's just going to make your system healthier. When you do get sick, you do need to take the time and let your body recover. Take some time off, sleep. Now, a day or two obviously is going to kill you, but if you start going for, like a week, you really just need to talk to the doctor and say, look, why am I not getting better? there's something off here. A day or two, once again, that's not really the end of the world. I mean, we've all gotten like the 24-hour flu thing, where you get up in the middle of the night, you throw up, you poop a lot, and then you are fine. Um, but exercise is just one of those things that just has a lot of lasting effects, short term, long term, overall, just general health. You're gonna have better problems with things like your bowel movements, you know, which obviously has other things that's gonna help you with, such as hemorrhoids and that kind of stuff. Um, can help with things like colon cancer, reducing the risk of those kinds of things, reducing the risk not genital, genetic issues, genetic issues. Now, obviously, there are some things that no matter what you do, you're gonna get, and there's nothing really you can do about that. Um, but it is going to help. If you've got any kind of mental issues or emotional issues or anything like that, exercise helps. It helps you to manage your stress levels. It helps you to, I mean, really just the widespread effects of exercise. If you were to go down the list and say, look at all the different things that exercise, does either directly or indirectly, I mean, it's just astronomical. It's just completely amazing the kind of things that one little thing does, and especially as we get older, we kind of stop and we don't have as high of energy levels as we did when we were kids, so we just kind of sit around. But when you exercise, you kind of get some of that energy back, and you just feel better. And but the bad thing is as you age, your injuries are gonna kind of stick around a little bit longer. But um, so exercise, it helps indirectly and directly, long term and short term. Just has just so many different benefits. The same thing, get vaccines. I know that some people are against them, and I understand that. I really do understand what you're saying. But at this point, to my knowledge, all of the anti-vaccine stuff is based on conspiracy theories and not on actual fact. Now, then obviously the conspiracy theorist is going to say something along the lines of this. Um, well, that's because the real research is hidden. Okay, all right. Let's be fair. You go ahead and become one of these scientists who are making these vaccines, and then you run a test on it, and then you can write as a book, and we'll read it and see what your findings are. But in the meantime, there's really no evidence to support these kinds of things. This is the evidence that we do have. Every year, the flu kills many people, children and women being a lot of them, which is actually kind of a flip. COVID kills mostly the elderly and the people with pre-existing conditions. The flu doesn't necessarily kill people with pre-existing conditions. It kills kids. COVID had very low death rates among children, extremely low. And the flu, on the other hand, kills lots of children. So kind of something that you should consider, very much so, vaccines. Um, a lot of simple sicknesses that that could easily be remedied by just preventative stuff like vaccines become bigger issues if they're not treated. And the third thing that I'm going to mention, and this is just kind of well, it's amazing to me, but it's just kind of a general rule about health. You're going to have to de-stress. You're going to have to find ways to kind of unplug, de-stress, calm yourself down. When you live in a constantly stressed environment, it weakens your immune system, and it changes your outlook, your mental outlook, and it makes it where you're less effective in the things that you do. Like if you have hobbies or your job or whatever, it'll make you do a worse job. If you go too long of periods without taking breaks, those kinds of things. Stress is really something that is good in small doses. Like it helps you to do better, helps you to strive, but at the same time, when there's too much of it in your life and there isn't a time when you can just kind of release it, for lack of a better word, it really just starts to build up, and it can cause a lot of problems, sickness, and well, just a lot of problems. I know it sounds like craziness, but I've actually seen situations where where doctors would say, look, you're just too tired and too stressed. In fact, there's a lot of things that I hadn't even heard of before this last year, where somebody will be too stressed for too long, and it'll be like there'll be this chronic tiredness. I forget exactly what it's called. I think it's called chronic fatigue, something, or similar issues where your body literally cannot recover. It's just exhausted. You wake up and you feel like you need to go back to sleep. It's just things that your system is just drained. And obviously, so when you're in a stressed out environment, mentally you're not going to be great. You're not going to do a good job and all that stuff. But your health is going to plummet. And if left unchecked, it'll just get worse and worse and worse. And here's the real, I don't know if it's an irony or not, but the more that stress makes you sick, then you go to the doctor, and then they say something and it stresses you out more. So then, see what I mean? It's just this cycle until finally you're like, you become stressed about being stressed, and that's very hard to break that cycle. So just put little things in there. Some things that you can do: going for a walk every day, obviously exercising. Some things to get away from it. Like, okay, I'm not at work anymore. I'm taking off my work hat. If you need to do like a routine that you do, especially like if you work at home, this is going to be a little bit difficult. But if you need to do a routine where like you are taking off this imaginary helmet and putting it down, and you're just taking a deep breath. Or if it's something where you need to turn off your phone. Or if it's something where you just need to maybe not try as hard to impress the boss. I mean, I know it sounds like, oh, but then, the other person will get the raise or whatever. Here's the thing. When you die, that job is going to replace you like this. It's not going to be, the organization, the business will live on. And you don't want to make your life all about work. And you don't want to drive yourself to the grave because of work. Do a good job, benefit your boss, do the best job you can. But at the end of the day, it is just a job. You don't live for the purpose of working. You don't live for the purpose of building into retirement. There's more to life than that. So it's just de-stressing. And a next step number 4, I guess. Eat healthy. Now this is a little bit tricky, because sometimes we think that we're eating healthy, but we really aren't. We just eat things that we think are healthy. Like, here's a good example. Oh, I'll drink this fruit juice. But then that fruit juice, let's say, only has 20% real juice. Or it's 100% real juice, but the sugar content is just out of the water. I mean, little things like that, where it's like... so when I say eat healthy, I mean maybe talk to a nutritionist, because every different body is going to handle food a little bit differently. And you're going to have certain things that you like more than other things. And a nutritionist can just kind of sit down with you and help you find out what would be best for your body, your age, what you need. Do you need to be taking multivitamins, or is your diet going to give you enough of that? For instance, an overabundance of vitamin A can have negative effects on your body. Just little things like that. Vitamin C, as far as I know, it'll just flush it through your system. Maybe cause it's either constipation or diarrhea. I forget which one, but it's not really that big of a deal. But vitamin A, over long periods of time, having an overabundance of it is going to have a lot more negative effects. So eat healthy. Obviously, you're going to have to find out what that means for you. But I'm not saying you have to become a vegan or a vegetarian. I'm not saying that. If you are a vegetarian or vegan, I'm not trying to tell you that you have to start being a meat eater. I'm not saying any of that. All that I'm saying is find something that works for you, something that works for your body and for your system. Just eat healthy. Another part of eating healthy is not eating too much. You don't want to be always stuffing yourself. Especially if you eat things like vegetables a lot, you're kind of going to get really hungry really fast. So you can adapt to that. You can drink water to kind of make your stomach think that it's fuller, or you can just have, instead of 3 big meals, you can have like 6 meals spread out throughout the day, or like a meal snack, that kind of thing. Really talk to a nutritionist, find out what works for you, what works for your body size, body type. You also might have to go into it slow and steady, like maybe 1 day of the week no sugar, and then do your regular thing. Then like a couple weeks later, 2 days of the week eat only vegetables, or I don't know. You see what I mean? My point being, you're going to have to, a lot of times, kind of walk yourself through the process. Um, okay, so then next step to that is practice a basic hygiene. This doesn't have to be like anything intense. I'm just saying, like, change your clothes, take a shower. I mean, obviously, you don't have to take a shower every 5 minutes, but I mean, basic hygiene is just something that, like, here's just a good example. You don't brush your teeth. You get a bunch of those little, you know, the marks on your teeth before the cavity, and then the actual cavity, and then it gets infected, and then you got this whole issue, and then that can cause issues with other things. It's like blood poisoning, you know what I mean? You get an injury, you get blood poisoning from the injury, it leads to death. It's like things like that, where it's like it's a simple thing, but if left untaken care of. Like another good example of basic hygiene, you've got an infected toe, take care of it. You've got an ear infection, take care of it. Like your body wasn't meant to just keep taking one for the team, and you do nothing to help your system. It's fine, it's fine. In the good old days, they didn't do that. Yeah, in the good old days, they died. So I mean, this is just something to think about. Obviously, um, there's only so much you can do, but if you can do something for your system, don't just kind of like, oh, it's fine, it'll bounce back. Practice basic hygiene. Take showers. Take care of the things that are going on your body. I mean, I know one guy who has. Let me think. I want to say it's somewhere around the neighborhood of 2 or 3 hernias, untested, and yeah, I mean untreated. I'm sorry, untreated, and sometimes hernias can be a really big deal, and sometimes they're not. Sometimes it's like, at your age, there's really no reason. And sometimes it's like, well, actually, this is kind of a big deal. It's kind of causing a problem here. And also, don't forget that your system is very much so connected. When something goes wrong in one area, many times it causes a problem in a different area. It's like the good example that I always think of is if you have poor shoes on that aren't giving your feet the support that they need, it can cause back problems that can then cause a headache. So what I mean is, it's that system is completely connected, and to try and think that I'm going to do this and it's not going to have any effect on my body, it's like that's just not true. Okay, so exercise, get vaccines, de-stress, eat healthy, practice basic hygiene. And this is just this number. I guess this would be 6. Sorry, forgot that I was counting. I guess this would be number 6 is more of like a warning in light of COVID. See, what they did with COVID-19 is they said, okay, everybody needs to go into quarantine. Which there's a lot of different opinions on, and I'm not really here to try and change your opinion one way or another. But my point being, let's pretend for the sake of this video that they hadn't have done that. Well, this is something that you need to practice. If you have a compromised system, avoid large crowds. For instance, if you're going through cancer treatments, you really probably shouldn't be around large crowds anyways. People are being sick. They go to the bathroom and don't wash their hands. They cough and sneeze and itch and scratch, and that's fine, okay? But if your system can't handle it, so obviously your body needs bacteria and your body needs germs. The use of hand sanitizer, for instance, really wasn't that great of an idea in the first place. But then the overuse of hand sanitizer during 2020 is really not great. I'm concerned that we might start seeing a rise in skin cancer, skin burns, and different things like that. I'm just very concerned about that. So your body does need germs, and I'm not saying you can keep that from your system, but when you have a compromised immune system, even, like, here's a good example. Oranges are great for you. When you have kidney failure, oranges are not great for you. And it's just kind of like that. It's one of those things where you just kind of have to take in your situation into account. So, I mean, don't be one of those people where, well, if I'm going to die, I'm going to die. And even though I have a weakened immune system, I'm going to go out and I'm not afraid of COVID. It's not just about COVID. We're in the fall right now. This is flu season, pneumonia season, RSV season. I mean, this is not really the best of times to be stubborn. Just throwing that out there. So, hey, if you have a compromised system, just avoid large crowds. You can still go outside, just maybe avoid really big events, like maybe Walmart might, for some of you, be considered an event. And obviously avoid contact with those who are at risk. You don't want to just, stop it for you, but if you see somebody who's elderly or whatever, just kind of keep your distance on that, because you can still carry things that don't really affect you, but then on the elderly, they can have very bad consequences. So, if you wear masks, once again, I'm not commenting on that. If you wear masks, make sure that you are washing them. If they are not washable masks, or they're like the medical masks, make sure that you're switching them out. You're really not supposed to just be using and reusing and using and reusing. That's just not great. Not healthy. Not real good. Just not good. You remember, when you're breathing, your body is getting rid of stuff, and if you catch that and then breathe it back in again, I mean, that's just a matter of time before something happens. Now, it's not that big of a deal, once again, if you wash your masks, if you change out your mask, if you exercise, those kinds of things. And remember, when you're exercising, don't wear a mask unless you are around other people. Once again, that's not great for your system. You need that air. You need that fresh air. You need to expel that the air that's in your body. Your heart needs the air to beat better. Your brain needs that. You don't want to deprive your body of the oxygen that it needs. So just keep those things in mind. The next thing, so I guess this would actually be like 9, I guess. Go outside. It is amazing what happens when you go outside. Your mood improves. Your body starts producing vitamin D. I'll give you a good example. I was having a really bad depressed day. Really bad. And the smoke around my house had been so bad that I couldn't go outside. It was just, ugh. Part of the problem that I've been having with my throat and everything is actually due to the smoke. It just has all these particles. I think it's called particle 2 or something. I don't know. Whatever. It just causes a lot of that junk, and it's just hard to when you have it every single day, huffing it outside, like biking and stuff. It just gets to be where it kind of just causes it's stuff like that. And so I really hadn't been outside for real long, and then we were outside. Actually, I was sitting in the car waiting for my wife in the shop, and the sun was hitting me, and within just it was like, I want to say it was like 15 minutes. My mood improved. It was like witchcraft, and so just going outside can really improve your mood. Looking at green things, plants, that kind of stuff, it can really improve your mood. For some people, rain is the opposite effect. But I'm one of those people where if there's rain, I will just sit there all day, happy as a lamb. Are lambs happy? Happy. Just one of those things. So go outside. Once again, the immediate effects, the long-term effects, the direct and the indirect. The direct being that you produce vitamin D. The indirect that you improve your mood and your outlook. Long-term being that you'll have obviously the next thing that you go into, the next bout of depression or whatever. You'll have that improved mood, and then also when you're outside, you're more likely to exercise. Okay, so then the 10th thing, this is actually more of a warning again. Natural remedies. Natural remedies are great, except for if there's actually a problem that is existent now. Natural remedies are more of a preventative measure that you have to do for a long period of time, and it only has minor changes over time. It's not something that can fix every issue. That's just something that you need to know. There's a reason why they invented medicine. even if you're anti-medicine, I get that, but there's still a reason why they invented it, because natural remedies aren't strong enough, and also because natural remedies really only work if you are keeping your body healthy, you're taking care of stuff the stuff that like I've been talking about, and it really is not gonna work in the sense of I will never get cancer. If I do get cancer, I will just do this, and the cancer will just come on, come on. The thing is, people get really weird, and when you are dealing with a life or death kind of situation, you kind of go to this place of desperation, and that desperation causes you to believe things that are obviously just not true. And it's hard to have this conversation because people will kind of come to their own conclusions about stuff, and that's really just not a great idea. So let me just keep this simple. Natural remedies, after there's already a problem, really just aren't a great idea. Natural remedies alone really just aren't a great idea. Like I said before, people used to just die. That's what they did. That was a natural remedy. Oh, death. And don't forget that, their remedies back in the day used to do things like putting leeches on people. I mean, things that, you know, I don't want to get off on rabbit trails. My main point is this, okay? Do natural remedies, awesome, great. Stay healthy. Natural remedies have a cumulative effect, so maybe if you do them over a period of time, and maybe if you stay healthy, then you'll might notice a chance of change. But if you get sick with something that really just seems like isn't going away, you might want to think about trying something else. Okay, so number 10 was beware of natural remedies. Number 9 was go outside. Number 8 was wash your masks. Okay. Number 7, sorry, I brain fart. I was gonna say 4, and I was like, wait a second, that's not 4. That's because we're counting down. So 10, 9, 8, 7. Okay. Avoid contact with those who are at risk. Which really isn't a way to be proactive against sickness for you. It's more to be a way to be proactive against sickness for other people. Number 5, if you are compromised, avoid crowds. Number 4, practice basic hygiene. Number 3, eat healthy. Number 2, de-stress. Number 1, how did I do that wrong? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't know how I did this wrong. Let's try this again. Number 10, natural remedies. Beware of natural remedies. Number 9, go outside. Number 8, wash your mess. Number 7, avoid contact with those who are at risk. Number 6, if you are compromised, avoid crowd. Number 5, practice basic hygiene. Number 4, eat healthy. Number 3, de-stress. Number 2, get vaccines. I did it right this time. Number 1, exercise. Man, okay. I did it right that time, guys. There was something else I was going to say about exercise. I can't remember exactly what it was. So when you exercise, you're going to have a lower percentage of developing an issue later on. You're going to be able to manage your mental issues better. You're going to be able to feel better now. You're going to be able to feel better later after you've been exercising. You're going to have fewer health problems. You're going to have a better outlook. You're going to feel less suicidal about stuff. You're going to feel when bad news comes, you'll be able to handle it better. You'll be able to have a better heart rate when you go to different elevations and stuff. You're going to have at your checkup when you get older, for your cholesterol and stuff, there's going to be less stuff going on there. Your body's it's gonna kick your body into gear where it releases different hormones and stuff that cause your body to work better, to feel better, that kind of stuff. Really, surprisingly, our bodies were not made to just sit and do nothing all day, every day. So, there's that. But anyways, so I hope that this video was helpful. 10 ways to be proactive against sickness, especially as we are trying to be healthy, trying to get healthy, that kind of stuff. So, man, I got to tell you guys a story. This year I did something called the Great Cycle Challenge. That is where excuse me, excuse me. Sorry, that is where you ride a bike for the month it was September this year, but I think in the past years it was like July or something. And you raise money, for children's cancer research. And we had one of our riders was this woman who was actually in her cancer treatments, and she did, I think it was 100 miles or something like that, and she wasn't using a road bike. So if you do, 100 miles a week on a road bike, that's like, okay, that's pretty good. I mean, it's not, you could do better, but that's pretty good. That's 400 miles a month. That's okay. But she wasn't using a road bike, and like I said, she was going through cancer treatments, so she ended up doing, like, I think it was 100 miles or something like that, just in a town bike around her town, and she met her goal, and she also finished up her cancer treatments in the middle of the challenge, which was super awesome. It was super, super awesome. We had a lot of riders who used to have cancer as kids that were riding. I've never had cancer. I really never really been affected by somebody who had cancer, but I mean, I do a lot of stuff for kids, and it just kind of was something that spoke to me, personally. I was like, eek, I've got 5 kids myself. I do a lot of activities and stuff for kids. Knowing that I could do something that helped was just really a good feeling. But anyways, I just had to share that story with that she was still going through cancer treatments, and still she was out there exercising. Like, how awesome was that? So really just a good thing to do too. Especially if you've ever been through cancer treatments, you know that it really tears up your system. I mean, it just tears it up. And exercise, on the other hand, really helps you. I was at the hospital one time, and they were talking about these things called banana bags or something like that. So basically, people who drink too much, it depletes their system. Drinking depletes your system, and so then they don't rehydrate and get those electrolytes and vitamins and stuff. So they give them this banana bag, and that's what they do for people who drink. Just some of those things that you don't really take into account of how your body is affected. So I hope that this video was helpful. I hope that you stick with your goals and help to get better and healthier. And I will see you guys next time. Probably be talking about something to do with diets. So, bye!